Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to Palantalk here on Banner and Backbone. I'm Nick Paro, co-founder of Banner and Backbone, with my friend Shane Yirak, independent analyst, friend of Banner and Backbone, supporter of Banner and Backbone, the firebrand with us here. What's up, brother? It's been a few weeks since we've had the chance to talk, and I'm glad to have you back.
I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be getting back into the routine, our regular Monday, oligarch billionaire corporate fascism shit talking session. It's an important discussion, and I was telling you before the show, this is going to be a good day for Palantalk. I'm going to tell you guys a lot of things. I almost consider this kind of a state of the union from me. But it's going to be wrapped in a lot of pain, but we already know that pain is here. So we've all kind of, I hope at this point, recognized and accepted the pain that these, billionaire fascists are putting us through. But there's things in here that should hearten you, that should motivate you, and that should make you want to kind of keep fighting. So, in regards to all of that, I am happy to be back here. I managed to grow a little bit of facial hair while I was gone. So, very proud of that I get to sit up here with Nick and show up with about 2% of what he rocks every time we hop on camera. So, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see all you guys. And how are you, Nick?
I'm busy. I have been very busy these last weeks. Both needed some time mentally at points, had family up or down, I guess, and have been working my butt off on trying to get this tooling working in the background and stabilized and as secure as I can make it. So a lot of things going on. Generally really busy, working on helping build out other shows for folks and help production with other folks. And it's been a lot, but it's been good. And I've stepped back from some areas and I've made sure I'm not overdoing it in places. But came to the decision that, well, not only me, but me and some of the friends in the community came into the decision that we are done waiting for others to say build a secure app or build a service where we can distribute our content, and so we're just doing it. And that was the decision, is we're just going to do it. Like, we're just going to do it. So you guys, as things start coming out for the broadbander tooling that I've been working on, which is its own independent thing, look out for the fact that it's going to not only distribute content onto other platforms, but the goal is to create its own platform that we can distribute content onto in a time-based feed that is not algorithmically manipulated and is just time-based, similar to what Blue Sky tried to do. But Blue Sky has its own problems and their own issues, so I'm not going to go too much into them, but we're hoping to finally just stop asking the question of who's going to do it and just be the one to do it. And we're going to see if we can do it on a shoestring budget, because I ain't got the finances of billionaires.
Nope.
But so far I've built a working application that at least I use that cost me like $40 a month.
There we go.
And I can't complain about that yet.
No.
And if I can start getting some more folks on it and start getting like Shane you integrated with it so you can start using it, we're really close to having the web dashboard so that you can post a note from there and distribute your content out to other platforms, to include Substack, Blue Sky, and Threads. Like, the fact that we can just do those 3 platforms is awesome. And if we can get that so that others can easily do it from our dashboard, from our broadband or dashboard, like that would be super sweet. Um,
Yeah.
and then if I can do it, if we can prove that we can do it on a shoestring budget, I bet you we could shoestring a budget for it for a scaled version that works for thousands and millions of people. Like
100%.
I'm sure we could figure out how to shoestring this budget. If we can do what we're doing now without having to pay much, I'm sure we can find a way to do it without having to pay a ton more. And I will disagree with that one comment on that cat's rule, only because I'm highly allergic to cats, so I can't have them. And so I've got 3 dogs, and I can't lift my dog up to pet him and have him on the screen because he'd be very unhappy. One of them, he'd be very unhappy and grumpy with me. I wonder if I could get one of the others to let.
Yeah. She was trying to crawl her way up onto the desk, and I was like, dude, you're gonna fall. So you're gonna
get yourself.
Yeah, gotta give her a little bit of love.
Well, I mean, I could always bring out Bucky the snake, and we could just have the snake out.
I used to have my ball python rock around. You do like a big necklace, it's like a chain.
He is a great necklace until I forget him, and then he goes and hides under my laptop, and I'm like, where the fuck did my snake go?
It's a thing. I think I lost my snake. My mom would know. She's here.
They're sneaky as shit.
He was under my. Where was he? He was in my laundry hamper, but he was gone for I fell asleep with him on my neck, and he was gone for a solid a little while. It was a couple hours, maybe more. But I remember tearing up my room, and he's just in the bottom of my laundry hamper, just chilling under some stuff. I'm like, dude, you were taking a nap and then fell asleep, and he was under your bed. There we go. So he had just, gone and crawled up into that space under the bed. So you just never know. You got to keep an eye on those guys. They don't really want to run anywhere, but here we go. Look at that.
That's a nice black and white picture of my snake Bucky. This has nothing to do with Palantalk, nothing to do with tech or fascism. But here's a snake. His name is Bucky the Slither Soldier Barnes. He fights fascism.
Absolutely.
And he was having some ground noodle time.
It's fantastic. So there you go, folks.
There you go, folks.
Bucky's touching grass. Snake. You should too. We should all be touching grass.
Go touch grass.
Touch grass. So speaking of people who need to touch grass, I'd love to kind of talk about, what I have for you guys today.
And while you do that, I'll be right back, Shane.
Yeah.
I'm going to go grab Bucky so he can come hang out.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. So one of the things that despite maybe not writing as much, I certainly have been watching things very closely. And I, in particular, for the first time in quite some time, have decided to turn my eyes and look introspectively back at my own country instead of looking outward for a while from the lens of if I were analyzing, for say, a different country entirely. And so this has been a interesting experience. And when I did look back, I mean, I've had an idea, and I've kind of been, these are very much in line with my predictions. This is very much in line with what I've been talking about and saying was going to happen. Frequently, what I've found in my experience is that more often than not, I'm a little bit, I jumped out, my fiance calls it jumping the shark. So I'm ahead of the curve, usually by a margin that's longer than I would think. I'm frequently impressed by the amount of rope. There he is. The amount of rope that exists between these 2 points. And so the things that I'm excited to talk about today are the things that I was talking about and have been talking about for many, many months, in some case going back to early 2025. So what we're going to cover today, I kind of said earlier, is kind of like a state of the union. It's where are we now? And it's obviously, if you're living here, My challenge to you is not to necessarily get too like into the niche of it, the specifics, because we're looking at a general picture. This is the pulse of America, the pulse of the billionaire class, the pulse of the tech industry, if you will. So in that sense, kind of keep that in mind. But so the discussion we're going to have today, and I will go ahead and I will see. I'll send this to you in Signal, Nick, so you can follow along here as I go, just so you can.
And if there's any resources you want me to pull up too,
Yeah, no, for
happy
sure.
to do that.
I was just, I might as well give this to you because it'll be helpful for you to have anyway. So if we just do that here, perfect. So let's kind of start here. There's a couple things here that I was looking at. The first being, is there a revolution? Is there something going on that would be characterized as a large-scale rejection of United States governance, of the oligarch billionaire class, of techno-fascism? And the assumption we have to make right away is that we wouldn't see it if it was. That the powers that be, the media platforms, the major news operations owned by the billionaires are going to actively be suppressing or misdirecting what's going on to give the impression that it's not, but it most certainly is. So that's the first thing I can tell you, is that at scale, things are happening that are undermining, and that the federal government, its legitimacy is at an all-time low. The other assumption that we want to make here is that when we're looking at these people and how they interact with reality, there's going to be a paper reality and a physical reality, something you've heard me say a lot. And it's that the United States economy, the capitalist model, operates on the assumption of unlimited resources. The United States position as a whole in the global order for a long time has been that of, we get what we want, we import what we want, we have the most money, it's not a problem. So that does and has been functional in a lot of ways. You talk to an American business person, particularly in sales, they couldn't even tell you what supply chain does. That's how kind of just for granted all of this is. That the assumption in American business has long been that I have capital, I have ambition, it will be supplied. Obviously, if you talk to someone who doesn't take their supply chain for granted running a business, they're probably going to tell you that that's pretty freaking stupid, that you would be operating your business without the insight of understanding how global supply chain works. The assumption here, and this is kind of one of those things where there's a lot of triggers. The example that I'm going to use is like a full-scale Hormuz re-engagement, reignition of some kind. That could be one of the larger triggers, but that would be kind of the flight, if you will, or the cascade, one of the possible cascade triggers here. And this is one of those things where I really want to kind of go through here, pay attention to all of the different wires that are crossing, because the picture it paints for the billionaires and the oligarchs is one of certain death. like that is where they're going. There's just really no question about it. That's something that me and Nick have said a long time, is that this doesn't end well for them. We just don't know where the end is. But what I can tell you is this is what the end is going to kind of look like. So what is the TLDR? The United States is experiencing three crises simultaneously, okay? There's a domestic political crisis, there's an economic and structural crisis, and there is a global trade kind of nexus, that is the global trade decline that is building around the United States simultaneously. This is where, at the center of all three of these things simultaneously, we are looking at a paper economy being defended by a state apparatus against the physical reality that is no longer compliant with their paper reality, right? So the oligarchs, the example, a ginormous margin of United States capital expenditure, CapEx, GDP has been attributed to the AI boom in the United States. Like that's just a fact, right? So that's where we're at here, somewhere in the realm of 1.25 to 1.3 trillion dollars, largest domestic expenditure of capital in a short amount of time since the railroad. Massive amount of money. Okay, so we're looking at a couple examples. Elon Musk is coming out with a $500 billion announcement of Stargate. We're at 1.25 trillion in valuation for companies that have no public exit. What does that mean? You can value NVIDIA at $5 trillion. If someone wanted to liquidate NVIDIA today, there is not $5.3 trillion in assets available to NVIDIA, a fraction of that at best, right? So evaluation on paper in future orders versus the actual tangible deliverable reality, these things are farther apart than they have ever been. And that's a really important thing to discuss here as well. So we're looking at the Palantir is priced 535 times its earnings, while 30 to 50% of data centers that have been scheduled to be built are blocked by American communities.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. There was a new, because I saw it come out this morning too, there was a new poll of Americans that it's 7 out of every 10 Americans do not want data centers in their community. That means 7/10 of Americans polled, which is a large number. Americans don't agree on very much very often, but 7 out of 10 agree that we do not want data centers in our communities. That means any of our communities, not just my community, not just Shane's community, but any community. 7 out of 10. That's a significant number of Americans who say no.
It's huge. And you're going to see here a little bit later, I have a whole section on this where we're actually going to start to really talk about just how impactful at scale this has been in terms of what amount of investment they're losing at this. And these numbers are huge. So we saw the reality here. 1.2 million people have been laid off in 2025 up to this point. That's basically worse than pandemic levels. 115 hospitals have closed as of right now. The government shutdown, obviously 43 days was the longest in American history. I believe they did take that cake. So now Trump owns the 2 longest government shutdowns. He might own 3 of them at this point. And what's most significant here is there is a massive anticipated spring import surge following the sales of the last year. That did not come this year. So for a country based on consumerism, these are the indicators you want to look for to see that the corporate consumption model is failing. That is what we're seeing here. So
well, when you lay a million people off or more in a year and you don't have any true alternative to replace them or to provide them with a fallback of some sort or a new job type, because we're still in a forced work society, is of course spending is going to be down. Of course nobody's going to consume shit. We don't have the money to consume shit. Yeah. But folks like Palantir, Peter Thiel does. Peter Thiel has all the fucking money. Don Jr. and his team, who are doing drone sales and drone companies and crypto, they got our money. We don't have our money.
Do they? That's the question we're going to answer today. Do they have money, or do
I'm not saying they have their own money. They're using our money.
Yes.
And calling it theirs. They don't have their own money. It's our money that they're using. It's our money that they have stolen, and it's our money that they are burning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're burning it. It's going to be a dumpster fire. But again, I said this is going to be wrapped in pain. But the thing I want you to kind of think about is I was thinking about this morning. We have imported so much stuff. We could never import things for 20 years and still have enough for a healthy barter, trade, socially driven economy. There's more than enough things here. It's not like we're going to run out of things. It's that people need to be able to readjust in the new environment because things are going to change regardless. But this is not like, it's about how well we adjust as a society. And that's going to be one of the larger things here. But before we get into the AI, I want to just kind of go through what's happened up to this point, right? Why are we here? So what's going on domestically, politically? So on July 4th, the ABBA, or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, was signed into law. Was only 20% of Americans supported that, right? So just about 8 and 10, just about as popular as data centers. It's basically was the foundation. It allowed them to gut the government. It allowed them to cut NSA security, recruiting methodology to bring a bunch of Proud Boys and white nationalists into ICE. Deregulated a bunch of things. It was the perfect bill on the surface. It's no tax on tips. On underneath, it is we just gutted all the institutions that the federal government uses. So, $1 trillion in safety net spending was removed over 10 years. Medicaid cuts, the most extensive in 60 years of its history. 10.5 to 16 million Americans are going to eventually lose their coverage, with about 1.2 million losing that up front. That was the layoffs. But I do believe it's somewhere around 1 million. We're going to lose it almost right away here. Of course, the poorest Americans lose 3.8% of their income in terms of taxing, and the richest are going to gain 3.7%, right? So the ACA...
And for every person who loses their job, they lose their health insurance.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, every person who's lost their job has lost their health insurance because there is no governmental fallback system. That there is no single payer system. There's no national healthcare system. There's nothing in this country that provides us a fallback if we lose our job. And that's on purpose. But also every single person who has lost their job due to AI has lost their health insurance at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a really
and that also makes it more expensive for the rest of us, because the less people paying into that system, we don't even want to talk about Cobra insurance. What a fucking scam that is. Like, that's the biggest racket there is too. Like, following up on regular health and employee paid health insurance is Cobra Health. Like, the fucking post getting out of work or being fired Cobra shit is so fucking expensive. It's prohibitively expensive. It's not terribly expensive. It's prohibitively expensive, and it's not meant for you to actually use. Like, the thing is, people forget, or they want to conveniently skip over, is the less people in the workforce, the less people who are paying into the health insurance system. So those of us who are still paying into it, which, by the way, I'm not, because I'm not in the traditional workforce, is all of those people who are paying into that system, y'all are paying more because of it. Mm-hmm. So the fact that people are losing their jobs should piss you the fuck off. Because the rich are getting richer off your back and health insurance companies are making more money. The scam and the grift is going worse because they are hurting us on purpose and they're not giving us a fallback. Anyway, just got to throw that in there. Just got to put that little reminder, because the tech fascists are doing this on purpose. Yeah. This whole thing is they want forced labor. They don't want where we get to choose what labor we do. They want forced labor out of us. They want a newer form of serfdom, of slavery, of whatever you want to call it. But it's intentional. Like, and they don't talk about this, and we never hear about, like, oh, when people lose their jobs, they also lose their health insurance. Most people don't ever talk about that part, or how it affects everybody else and how it actually does impact you. And that's what they want. They want you to do that. And it's part of the curated reality of AI and AI-driven internet, compared to community reality of the real world. Go touch grass.
Go touch grass. Go touch grass. Go watch some bugs in your backyard, lay on your tummy, watch them go do stuff. It's pretty awesome.
And yes, Chris, they want population reductions while telling women that they're somehow underbabied at the same time. Like, the duality of everything they say is fucking stupid.
It's one of the reasons I stopped.
Underbabied is one of the most horrendous terms, by the way, that I think I've heard in a long time.
Coming out of Babyface McGee too, like, what the hell? Like, you never unbaby, dude. Like, he literally looks like he's a couch fucking baby.
As Dana Dubois said in an article, and as she said earlier, I saw earlier today, was the US isn't underbabied, we're motherless because of that fucking website. Because we believe in rape culture in this country rather than family culture. And Christians, you can fight me on it because your family culture is rape culture, and that's gross.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those
Christian nationalists, to be specific.
Yeah, I get
not normal, not Christians who are actually out here who believe in Jesus and are following teachings of like loving thy neighbor and the beautiful things that come out of religion. Like, you guys are fine. Y'all are fine. It's the nationalist assholes who are teaching patriarchal bullshit that this system is the way it is because they say it can be that way. That's what we're talking about.
Totally. Yeah.
Anyway, as I tangent for a second.
No, that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're looking great on time, so it's important. These are my thoughts. Nick has a brain that is peer to peer with mine, so there's definitely always insight. We want to hear from that. That was a great point. That 1.2 million lost jobs means another 1.2 million people off insurance, which means that premium is going to go up for everybody else. I saw a comment here. I believe it was Beth saying, yeah, would you like to be covered for $3,000 a month? Well, no, I would not. Thank you very much. And that is absolutely kind of where we're at. And as we keep going here, you're going to see that this all compounds. And I like to look at everything very scientifically. It helps me a lot. Everything is a hypothesis. Everything is inputs and outputs of a given reaction. The world is physics. It is absolutely just kind of how it works. Entropy, we're all changing. So keep that in mind as we talk about these numbers, is that each number moves something in a direction. You can think of everything as like a battery, right? It's a loop. Everything feeds into itself, and each of these factors is going to either increase or decrease the strength of that battery, right? So 1.2 million, 58% increase from 2024. Huge, massive, right? Hiring rate, we're at great recession lows. No hires, no fires. Okay, so if you have a job at this point, you're probably going to hold on to it. And then the companies aren't hiring. And if they are hiring, it's like McDonald's for a bunch of part-time positions because they're firing their full-time positions because they have to provide them with healthcare and shit like that. So a lot of these companies are moving towards part-time with less benefits, lower hours. A lot of states allow for things like that. Obviously, the intent was probably to give people a little bit more opportunity to get money. Then again, like credit cards are sharecropping basically. So our entire economy is jacked. But we've got now 55% of Americans anxious about job security. That's coming from Harris Poll and Bloomberg. 785 large Chapter 11 bankruptcy filings in 2025. That's a 15-year high. So Q1 of 2025, GDP was negative 3%. Q2 forecast for 2026 is negative 0.8%. And we are looking at a 55% recession probability that's coming out of Bloomberg. So I want you to adjust that for what I call the active belligerent rule. Anyone who has a stake is a belligerent in a given conflict, or I usually use this for war. If the Malian government says we killed 1,000 terrorists and the terrorists say we killed 20,000 soldiers, neither of those are true. Like, we destroyed all of their missiles. Sure we did, Hexeth. Oh, wait, they're still launching missiles. That's our belligerent rule. So we want to treat institutional banks as having to hedge, because if they say there's going to be a depression, there will be a depression. They will have to route. So assume they are going to lie. right? But they have to be semi-close. So if they're saying 55% recession, we're probably looking at 60% depression. Okay, we want to adjust. Now, in a lot of places here as well, we're looking at healthcare collapse across the United States. This is a lot of this is the OBBA. When they signed all of this in 2025, we actually were looking at these far off dates at the time. And a lot of this was down the road for folks. We were very focused on the loss of seats, the open corruption, a lot of these things. All of this was pushed to a certain point at which they thought they would have consolidated enough power to really start to execute. A lot of those things have not happened or really come to manifest in the way that they would like. So we are now looking at 115 plus healthcare facilities closed or reduced across 32 states. These are not in metropolitan centers. These are not in big cities. These are in rural communities, more impoverished communities that were more dependent on subsidies and funding from the government to stay open, provide these services. These are the people who are being impacted, are the very people who, generally speaking, have the most to lose, tendency to be the most volatile, are pushed into the lowest kind of stress bracket, as well as generally voted for Trump, right? So the people that are being hurt the most are these communities that were able to be isolated, put into a basically community-wide social media chamber, and converted to a lot of these extremist behaviors, right? So we talked about this. 1.2 million Americans did lose ACA insurance as well. 446 facilities employing 275,000 patient care workers are at heightened financial instabilities, and hospitals are borrowing at the fastest pace in over a decade in anticipation for these cuts to come into effect. So our hospitals are going into debt, anticipating the loss of subsidies, of federal funding here. So what we've kind of talked about state escalation and violence. ICE has killed dozens of people. The big ones, and I hate to say it, but the white people that were killed, Renee Nicole Good, was killed on January 7th in Minnesota when she was shot in the face by an ICE officer, and Alex Preddy was executed in the street in Minneapolis, and he was killed there as well. Horrific. But these are the kind of catalysts that drive animosity towards the state. They go from being, people that are abducting immigrants, which we know is wrong, which is unacceptable, that they're killing these people and putting them in concentration camps, to them executing the white class in a country that is built on white nationalism. The second you make the white people feel unsafe, you have crossed the line, because now the white people have a problem with you. And that was really always kind of the bedrock in a big way for this kind of slow creep of fascism and white nationalism, was that the white people felt safe. They could abstain. That was a big deal. Now we're looking at mass mobilizations, record protests. Whether or not we saw an impact, of course they ignored them, but the numbers are important. They're significant. As of January 30th, 2026, there was the national shutdown. You had 300 protests across 50 states. 1,000 plus organizations were endorsed. You literally had all kinds of groups, including communist parties. I'm just going to put in a quick caveat. I shouldn't have to say this, but communism is the pole of capitalism and will result in the same fucking problem. Look at Stalin. Look at the Great Purge. And then you can go, and next time you talk to a communist, you can ask them if they've done any reading as well. They probably haven't. But, to keep going on with that as well, we're seeing a very large coalition of aligned groups that normally would disagree, but you're seeing a political movement, the feeling of discontent, the feeling of, I can't put gas in my car to go to my job to buy food that I can't afford at a job that makes less money. I'm going to give you an example. I was in Idaho driving to Montana to take care of some things with my family. Visited my grandfather. It was a super successful trip. He's feeling much better, and it was very good. Happy that that's going on. But we're driving through Idaho, and we stop at a gas station. And my fiance told me this story. As she goes in to use the restroom, she walks by the lady at the front, comments on her t-shirt, says she likes it. As she's leaving the gas station, that same woman is crying on the phone and says, "It cost my entire paycheck." That is what's going on, where someone's life goes, something happens, and they spend their entire paycheck and they have nothing. That's the level of economic strain Americans are now under.
And when you say too, like, let's be specific too, like when you say somebody had to use their entire paycheck, that could mean in the States right now, that could mean anywhere from you had to get a brand new set of tires because a tire blew or your tires were low and you then needed an oil change. And at the same time, they did a transmission fluid change. Like that's $1,500 or more. Like that could be a lot. That could be someone's entire month paycheck.
Yes.
It could also be you had to go in for back surgery or you had to go in for some unexpected medical service. Now you're in bankruptcy because of it and you've missed payments because of it. When Shane is qualifying, like Americans are on edge. So many Americans are living paycheck, if not less than paycheck to paycheck every month.
Yeah.
That's, again, it's on purpose. It's to force us down. It's to make us feel like we need to get a second job or a third job or a fourth job or feel like we're a failure. And then it becomes easier to blame it on somebody else. Why you're a failure because, oh, this brown person or this black person or this whatever other person. And yes, in other countries where there are majorities that are non-white, it could go the other way. It could go, you get this job because you are this person instead of this. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same othering, just with different terms. It's the same hate and the same racism. But the big thing is we're also economically drained right now so that you cannot resist. So that you feel like you cannot go out in the streets to resist and make a statement because you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your healthcare. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your family. You're going to fall into this hole that is unescapable. Again, it's all on purpose. The economic situation coupled with now the healthcare situation that is here, not coming, but here. Okay, Snake, just stop, nerd. Just stop. Stop that. Stop that.
You try and put him down. He's like trying to unplug your whole computer.
Hardships that are here because healthcare is already being destroyed. Food safety and security, child care. Like we talk about healthcare and things like that, but we don't often, and Shane and I don't always talk about it because it's not a tech related thing typically.
Yeah.
Child care and the services that were used to help instrument the distribution of child services have been taken over by these tech billionaires who have their hands in all of our infrastructure, and they have taken away the services that we rely on and need and should be guaranteed as part of our government, because life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness requires that you actually have a life, you have liberty that's worth something, and you can actually pursue happiness, which you cannot do under crushing debt and insecurity at all the time. And it's manufactured. Again, everything that Shane you're talking about has been manufactured to keep us in line, to curate a reality towards us that is isolationist based for ourselves, where we don't want to rely on others around us because we're afraid of them. And that has been hyper augmented through the beginnings of AI and these divisive tools or these technological tools that can scope your curated reality into a hyper fixated, curated unreality, which divides us further. and then allows them to continue doing these things like dismantling the healthcare system while telling you we need to invest in drones.
Yeah. And there's an important kind of caveat I want to add here, because you're right. But at the same time, that's what's going to make this paper section we talk about a lot more important, is that one of the reasons they are starting to cannibalize these other industries is because of the capital situation, that they are trying to salvage a situation and they're running out of equity where they have been. So now they are going into other industries with AI to secure more paper capital to keep this ship afloat. So the damage that they're going to do is ultimately going to collapse the entire corporate system that they have built, which is where it kind of comes into this weird silver lining, because the very system they are being forced to cannibalize is the system of equity that they and their value and their power is tied to. And yes, the intent was to make us all subservient, but the stupid thing is the propaganda that goes along with this flag is freedom, bow to no man, bow to no woman. We are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Whether that's being used to propagate racism or not, if you get to a point where that cannot be laid at the feet of this flag and be accepted by people, you've reached a point where, like, they're literally marketing weight loss like it's nothing you've ever seen. It's because they are literally trying to make it cool to be skinny, because they know people can't afford groceries. Like, these things, these are the, I'll go into the weeds too far, so I'm going to redirect myself. But like, this is kind of the overall picture. And I'm going to go through, there's quite a few things here, but I'm going to kind of go through pretty quick some of these other things, because I do want to get to the paper economy, the part that's heartening and positive, at least in my mind. Obviously, Luigi Mangione, big deal. His case, the key evidence against him actually looks like it's going to be thrown out if it has not already, meaning that he could actually walk, because they went so in on him so hard to make an example. They made a lot of mistakes, and he might actually walk, which is crazy. But he is absolutely been a symbol. It's something they've really been trying to repress. When he got in the press, it was about how they were going to give him all this pain. And now the man might walk. We're not really hearing anything about that. On April 7th, Shamel Abdul Karim burned down a warehouse, Kimberly-Clark warehouse. That's a toilet paper company here in California. 1.2 million square feet, over $600 million in damage, at least. And he actually said, if you're not going to pay us enough to live, you at least pay us enough not to do that. Put it on social media. He was actually, and is now in the pipeline for domestic terrorism. It was routed to the National Security Division because NSPM 7 categorizes anti-capitalist sentiment as domestic terrorism. So this should tell you this is very scary for them. They're taking a warehouse fire that normally would be routed to normal local arson services and making it a national security issue, because the state and the capital class are the same as of right now. So on April 10th, a gentleman named Daniel Marino Gama traveled to San Francisco, threw a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house, was charged with attempted murder, premeditated, but he had a hit list of additional AI executives. And he actually said in a chat that was released, I'm planning on Luigiing some tech CEOs. Okay, this is something that people are thinking about. This is something that is in the public consciousness. This is a viable solution to the point where people are planning to go and get these people. Okay. The Washington Post on the 20th of April actually put out the Luigi Mangione copycats. This is them, as a Bezos-owned publication, having to acknowledge something that they've been ignoring because it gives it life. If people are burning warehouses, right, and there's over 20 suspected of these fires, billions and billions of dollars of damage. Now, not all of them are probably associated, but a handful of them certainly are. And so we're seeing a domestic movement, this underground movement of anti-capitalism. And I will say this, I do not condone a situation where if you're going to attack the capital class and their assets, Make sure you do not harm people that are not in the capital class. You're trying to make a statement towards the capital class that the people matter more than any kind of material or paper value. Do not, I'm going to put that in there. If you're going to make a statement, make sure the warehouse is empty. I'm not condoning or saying anything. I'm talking about facts. I'm talking about things that are happening right now. And if people are going to do these things, I'm going to say that as well. We talked a little bit about NSPM 7.
Well, let's stop there for just a second. Let's acknowledge that whether we condone or don't condone, people are going to do it anyway.
Correct.
And I don't condone violence. I don't condone the use of violence. I do appreciate resistance, and we cannot sit idly when somebody has a boot on your neck. You don't sit idly back. This is a problem that the administration or the regime is creating purposely, because they do want civil unrest, they do want civil disturbance, they do want civil pushback. They want but they want it to be uncoordinated, and they want it to be disparate communities, and they want it to be non-unified so that we cannot work together to create a movement that actually lasts. And so people will probably do these things, whether we tell you guys not
well, they're
to.
doing it, right? That's
people are doing these things, and it's going to happen more. Mm-hmm. Because people are getting more desperate. And this situation is going to become even more desperate as we continue, as people lose their jobs, as healthcare becomes more inaccessible, as schools close down, as factories get taken over and automated, and you lose your job, and every smart factory becomes one, or every factory becomes one or two jobs, maybe 10, maybe, compared to hundreds, and your town loses and you lose. And guess what? It's always going to be those in the communities that feel most left behind. Those of you who are yelling loudest right now, white Republicans, that you're being left behind, guess what? You're the ones doing it to yourselves. You're leaving yourself behind because you're hurting your own fucking jobs. You're hurting your future. You're hurting everything else because of hatred that you just can't get around. And the administration is going to make more of this happen. Not because people want to, but because people are going to get desperate. And it's going to be, and this is the part where I was talking about this earlier today, is community building and bridging gaps with each other. This is where we are going to have to support each other. Like, we are going to have to build these gaps and find these organizations that are working together to ensure that we aren't promoting civil disobedience that causes oppression. Because you can be civilly disobedient without sparking a violent revolution.
Yeah.
Like, May Day happened, but we're still out here working. You want to grind the engine of capitalism to a halt? Stop fucking working. Everybody stop working in a coordinated fashion. And the nuance behind it, they can't arrest all of us, is the thing. They can try, but they cannot arrest all of us if we stop working. The idea of NSPM 7 is there to scare people from going on strike, from taking the time to fight fascism with their job by refusing to put their labor into the market.
Yeah.
They're trying to scare you. But if enough of us do it, and I say enough of us, and I can't be one of them because I don't have a corporate overlord that's going to fire me because they can't cancel me. The only one who can cancel me are you guys. And they can't cancel me. But you guys in the audience who have jobs that are like under corporate overlords, it's going to take a coordinated effort to grind it to a halt for more than one day.
Yeah.
Or a few hours. Like, it has to be sustained. We are at the resistance point, because if we want to avoid where Molotov cocktails and warehouses burning and people being shot in the street are not the commonplace. We have to do the hard part now and put our jobs and our current situations on the line so that in a year we have something worth keeping.
Yeah. I mean, I
Because
think that
again, just to hammer this point home, we do not want a civil war. We do not want a hot, open civil war in the streets of the US. That
yeah.
is the most devastating thing that could ever happen to a country is a civil war, aside from being bombed the shit out of, say, by the US, like we like to do, or what Israel does to Gaza. Yes, they are going. Yes, I know they already are shooting us. They are doing that. They have been. They can't, again, we have to be willing to have them shoot at us. I hate to say it. I hate to say
I mean,
that,
I
but
don't
you
think
have to be
everyone's
willing
gonna
to put your
agree,
body out
right,
there.
on this. Like, and that's okay. Like, we can say what we want and like what we believe, but also like I think it's important to acknowledge that like we are starting to approach the level of suffering at which in other countries I observe violence towards the government. All right. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
and
candid with you about
I'm
that.
trying to avoid a violent solution. Like
Yes.
my goal is
Yes.
we have to stop fighting each other.
Yeah.
We have to where they want a civil war, and by they I mean the government powers that are the oppressive
The
government powers
capital
that are in
class.
charge right now, and the elite class
Yeah.
that wants all of us fighting each other because your neighbor has more in common with you than they would ever have in common with a billionaire,
Yeah.
ever, any
And
day of the week.
no
And
amount of
to avoid a violent revolution,
Mhm.
we have to create a peaceful one.
Yeah. And I
And
think
I don't want people throwing Molotov cocktails or setting IEDs or planting house bombs and car bombs because we've seen that.
mhm.
We've seen judges' cars get blown up with them inside them. We've seen what it looks like in other countries to have IEDs go off. We have to make the hard choice too. And that involves all of us going out and shutting down the economic engine of this country
Yes.
for a sustained period of time until they relent. It has to be.
And let me tell you, Nick, that's happening. That's what I'm excited to share with you guys. That's what I'm excited to talk about. Is understanding, and I'm going to hammer this for a second. Paper and physical. The markets as they are structured is built on this idea of valuation of future services or products. The value of a company is tied to the amount of chip orders that they have on file, not how many chips are in the warehouse. It's the amount of chips they've ordered from the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company that is actually attributed to the value. And the valuation of the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is attributed to how many people want their chips, not how many chips they actually have made. So this scales back and back and back. And it's all supported. But AI is the best example we have of this, and they've put all their eggs in one basket. If you know Peter Thiel, you know that's how he operates. He just goes all the way in and he wins. That's how he does it. He commits. So he puts it all on the line. And we're actually going to see here, particularly with AI, just how big of a deal that is. So Elon's announcing things like, $500 billion in this Stargate initiative for AI. But as of August, there was no funding. Nothing has been committed. Nothing is there. It just says there's going to be money, right? The AI infrastructure spend. Okay. So as of 2026, capital expenditure from big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta is at $725 billion already. All right. So they're putting more money into things. But when you're looking at, institutions, a lot of these folks studying AI, 73% of enterprise AI initiatives are failing. 73%. 25% of spend that is scheduled has now been deferred to 2027, right? So they've already spent 725 billion. 73% of the projects attached to that are failing. Okay. And 56% of CEOs in tech are reporting zero ROI. Zero. I'm going to say that's no return on investment for 56% of these tech CEOs. Okay. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. The justification is we are at war with these companies over AI development. Okay. We are in an AI Cold War. Well, the thing is, China went from spending from a performance gap of 31.6% AI performance to US to 2.7% gap using only a fraction of the compute. Okay, so they're more efficient, they're spending a lot less money, and they're basically already caught up to us, which means we're spending more money, we're getting no result, they're getting no return on their investment, and they're actually starting to withhold spend, which is the opposite of what they want to do. Palantir's P&E, so profits and expenditures is 78 to 100%. So they are overvalued by 78 to 100%. They're down 25%. 54 to 55% of Palantir's revenue is attached to the government. Okay, the United States government. So they're like this. If the government goes down and they lose funding, so does Palantir. It's a hedge. It's a gamble. It's how Peter Thiel works. Okay. Musk is worth approximately $728 billion to $828 billion. However, it's almost all of it is illiquid. He cannot move it. He cannot use it. SpaceX is at 1.25 trillion privately valued. But if they go public, that could go through the floor. We have no idea what that actually is. And they've been having issues even coming in and assessing it. A lot of this stuff, really important to understand, is that they've tied value to things that can't be liquidated. They can't actually get this money out. The money's nowhere to be found. They can spend $726 billion on data centers they want to build, but Americans have already blocked 250 to 300 billion of these expenditures of AI data centers that have been planned in 2026 are stalled or canceled. 360,000 Americans in 268 groups across 37 states, including bipartisan legislation being passed in these states against AI data centers. Their plan for the AI data center boom, their mass surveillance system, their corporate techno-fascist America is tied to these data centers, and they are not being built. They cannot afford even really to get these resources. And this is where we have to kind of talk about the global part here that puts that pressure on from the outside, because they're looking at pressure internally. They're looking at Americans. How much private equity is in on this? We're looking at around $1.3 trillion, but that's probably going to go up quite a bit as they expend. I believe the number I was reading is something along the lines of the United States spends somewhere like 71% more on its AI to get the same results than China. It's absurd. We are literally just spending and not really getting anything out of it. So it is very interesting, and obviously spending, which is why when they cut rates, that's how they bring the economy back up, because people borrow more and then you can spend more money. So the method for keeping the dollar at the value it's at is to spend. So how do we actually gauge and see, well, how well are they actually doing? So there's a couple signals here. And a really good one is to look at import exports. So the US container imports are down 11.2% year over year in March of 2026, which means since obviously we've seen a 10%, over 10% of a decrease in imports just in that coming in. They're not restocking. People aren't spending. That was the whole thing. The Christmas boom, they saw positive GDP. More people spent because they spent everything they had on Christmas. And we were talking about this coming into Q2 of 2026. At least I was. That's when I was anticipating seeing the beginning of this larger scale collapse. Chinese exports to the United States are down 20%. We're down 20% in 2025. But Chinese total exports went up 5.5%, which means that they just went and replaced They took and actually got 25% increase in that export. So they replaced the 20% that America was buying, and they're still growing. So they replaced it with the Association of South ASEAN, Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, 13% increase there, 26% to Africa. So they just really just went around the United States and found other partners. EU and Mercosur, EU, India, a lot of these are also going around. So a lot of these partners we have are just moving around the United States. Canadian ports, Prince Rupert in Vancouver, are seeing massive gains year over year, while LA's port fell 12% and Long Beach was down 11%, as countries are now routing around the United States to Canada instead. Europe, you would think the plan for them was that they would capitulate under economic pressure. Europe has actually done the opposite, despite the tremendous pressure and the energy crisis caused by the Strait of Hormuz and Iran.
Which, by the way, has been closed again today. As of today, Iran
they closed it again?
the strait again, and the deal has been rejected because weird. I would have expected Trump to make an amazing deal. He's such a good deal maker.
I don't know.
Such a good deal maker.
Buster. He's a deal buster.
Deal buster.
Deal
the biggest
buster.
of busters.
He's a bad rug puller, dude. He can't even pull a rug. He trips as he's pulling. They carpetbaggers, rug pullers. These are not the rug. These are not the carpetbaggers and the rug pullers of old. Maybe there's a money association between IQ and wealth. Like, you get to a certain point. I don't know. We need to study these people's brains. I firmly believe that we need to study their brains. When they do that, we need to or maybe we can just study them in prison. Maybe we should run some tests on them once they've arrested for treason and before they get handed the sentence that is mandated for treason in this country. They should atone by letting us study their brains. So on top of that, great, we've reclosed Hormuz. That was actually the trigger, one of the triggers I was talking about for Cascade event here. So very interesting. We could start to see some of the things we're talking about today come into effect with that one. So very interesting. I was reading there's also mines in Hormuz now. So even if they didn't wanted to open it, only Iran knows where the mines are. And Iran could just say we forgot. So we have no idea. So another big thing that we were seeing here is that European countries kind of saying they're taking the pain and they're not folding. They're not capitulating the United States. And it's actually made them more popular with their constituents. They're not experiencing domestic pressure to fix things. The majority of Europe views the United States as less than favorable. Denmark, for example, was 80% favorable under Biden, 2023. Today, that is 20%. Something I really want people to understand here in America is it doesn't matter if you did not vote for him. You are Israel. We are all Israel. We are the same. We are viewed that way. This flag is something else. It is not what it was in 2023. That's a fact. It doesn't matter who you voted for. That's just the way things work. People operate on stereotypes and assumptions. We are America. If we want that perception to change, the capital class must be removed from power. And we're going to have a lot of work to do to earn the trust of the global community back if we can get there. A lot of things were in process, though. They kind of anticipated this, right? They needed their tech boom. They needed these resources. So we saw this sweeping kind of election manipulation across Latin America, the Central America, these countries where there was basically an effort to install fascist leaders in Chile, Peru, Argentina, all these places that are very important for mineral extraction, silver.
I'll say election manipulation across all of the Americas.
Yes, very true. All of the Americas except for Canada, elbows up. So, they did a lot of things to try and mitigate what they were anticipating, that the whole hemisphere, they wanted control over the hemisphere, southern sphere, all this stuff. Well, it turns out that you can put friendly governments in, but you can't make the people do anything. And what's happening is we are seeing real examples of domestic resistance in these Latin American companies. These mines are shut down. The local people are resisting the destruction of their environment and their communities. They are blocking the roads. They are striking at the mines. So these friendshoring hedges that they made in these countries are actually being stopped significantly by the local populations as they resist the fascism that is being brought into their country. So communities in one of the major mines in Latin America, Las Bambas, 400 plus days it has been blockaded. And that's just one example across Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Argentina. All of these countries are doing this. Copper is up to $6.32 a pound. That's up 42% since 2025 started. Some of these mines are shut until 2027 due to earthquakes, natural disasters. So the friendshoring bet they made to replace the metal deficit from China has failed. And
so let's expand upon this idea of what they're doing, of what people are doing to resist, because this is the example we need to start doing in our own nation. Is we see everybody else doing it and we're like, oh, somebody else is going to do that. No, you have to be the change you want to see. You have to be the one willing to go into your job and find all your friends and go, hey, we should all protest. We should shut down. We should block work. They can't fire all of us. If the entire company goes out on strike, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to fire you all? Okay, that's their fucking problem then. That's the company's fucking problem. And yeah, it is a you problem because you lose your money and you lose your ability to have an income. Again, this is where community is going to have to start stepping up. There are some of us in our communities who have more money, who are able to do crowdsourcing and sharing and fund sharing to help mutual aid. Those of us who are resilient and ready, and those of us who keep asking who's going to step up, you're going to be the one to step up. If you're in a traditional job, now is the time to step up. Now is the time to start doing the things that we're seeing in other nations that work, because that is the peaceful resistance we need. That is what we need. We could shut down the transportation industry in the US pretty quickly, pretty easily. The truckers unions could shut down easily. Things could stop moving.
Across the highway, done.
Yeah, you could easily stop things. We could do it peacefully and patriotically. It takes more courage to stand in front of someone with a gun without one. Mm-hmm. It takes more courage to stand there and put your body on the line for somebody else and somebody you don't even know.
Yeah.
It takes more courage to do all of that. We have to. It's not we can wait till the midterms, we can wait till all this. Have to. The economies need to be affected in the US in places where it's unexpected. Mining communities in the US, you have a lot of power.
So much power.
Energy communities in the US, you have a lot of power.
More power than you could conceivably imagine. And
tech workers in the US. Guess what would happen if Google had a company-wide walkout and an issue happened on the internet that caused a problem at Google that day? Google would lose millions.
Billions.
If not billions, if not their entire company.
Mm-hmm.
You little people, as they would try and make you feel, you junior software engineer, you senior software engineer, you mine worker, you grocery packer, you dock loader, you have so much more power than they want you to ever know. Mm-hmm. If you and your company walked out, they couldn't do a damn thing. They cannot fire all of us. They cannot imprison all of us. They just can't. Because at some point, all of us wake up and go, yeah, no.
And a quick
And
point.
that's what they fear, is us unifying, behind the idea that they can't silence us, because the worker in the mine has more in common with the tech worker who's just working their ass off 80, 90 hours a week. Same shit, y'all. Y'all are being overworked and abused.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power to stop it, just like those in Chile, just like those in Ecuador, just like those in Venezuela, just like those everywhere in the Americas, just like those everywhere around the world. We have the power to stop it. They keep distracting us from it because the one thing they fear is an economic blackout.
Yeah. Well, and there's an important kind of point buried in there about these minerals. And particularly in places where they already have mines, is really important. West Virginia, okay, Appalachia. Your communities are in genuine danger because they already are. They're starting
They're going
to
to kill your
flush,
communities.
they're flushing the old coal mines with chemicals, and it is poisoning your fresh water supply. So the worse this gets, the more important it's going to be for your communities to go out and do this kind of work. The reason that you see this kind of resistance in these places is literally because the damage to their water, their environment, is lethal. You are not, in some places, it's not like that. In those communities, you are fighting a life or death situation. They will poison you. You will die. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to be candid with you because they are in a corner. They have no way out, and they are going to start looking for Band-Aids. And Band-Aids are F the environment. Let's see what we can get out of this 60-year-old coal mine by filling it with lethal and dangerous chemicals. The waters in West Virginia are running a muddy reddish brown. You see it seeping out of the ground. It is scary. Why flush the mines? Because they can get in there and they can get some of those things out, and they're looking for rare earths, metals, deposits like that. So these things they're doing, the EPA was intentionally gutted largely for them to build these data centers as well as to get into this kind of access. So the kind of resistance Nick is talking about that's being demonstrated is not a matter of like, do you want to have your community be able to live there? Do you like, it could be Flint. You could be the next Flint, Michigan. And Flint is still not drinking their water. They never really got to go back to the same. It's very real. And it's up to you to go out and say, hey, these people don't live in my community. This company's rolling in a bunch of trucks. What are they doing here? You know what? I'd like to have clean water in my well because it will poison your groundwater. It will poison your well. You will get cancer. Your friends will get cancer. And that is the type of fight. You're fighting for life. You're there. You're now fighting not for the right to pursue happiness, not liberty, but life. That's your fight. And, death comes in many ways, and it's not always a gun at your head. Sometimes it's a man in a suit signing a piece of paper. It's your local legislator, your town hall, your mayor, your city council opting to let a company come in and, work at the abandoned mine because they're going to get enough money to move out of state and go somewhere else because they don't care. These are your fights, and understand that this victory we're seeing in terms of the capital class, effectively on the precipice of implosion, means they're going to start throwing literally everything at the wall. They've thrown the sink. Now they're just throwing whatever. This is where we're at. So resistance. Look and see 30 to 50% of data center projects. And these are places like Ohio. Okay. These are not, in Nevada. Like these are places where there's nobody out there, but they're stopping them anyway because they know the danger it poses to their life, as well. And in stopping this, the means of productions, they have heavily invested in this. This was their angle. They were going to use the AI to mass surveil us, to control us, to oppress us, to control our healthcare, our finance, all of these things. They can't, because they don't have the compute. And compute is the single most valuable resource, not the energy. The energy allows for the compute, and they cannot run a super intelligence without the data centers. They are stopped. They're stopped right now because of us. So we need to keep doing that. And I mean, Nick, that's pretty much it for me. I know we got a little bit of time. I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on all of this, and how you feel about hearing these things. And I'm happy to kind of report a lot of this.
No, I like where your mindset is going on all of this too, is to focus on the positive of what's happening, because we see a lot of the negative and we see the shit and we go, well, fuck. And then you just want to give up. The more shit that keeps getting piled on, you just want to give up. There is silver linings that we have to look at. There are goods that are coming that we have to be able to accept when they happen. And we have to take things as good in a bad situation. And we can also take the fact that 7 out of 10 Americans don't want data centers in their communities. That is hugely important.
Yeah.
We need to get that to 9 out of 10, to 10 out of 10. We could easily get it to 9 out of 10 in this country. I think 9 out of 10 Americans could easily agree on the type of toothpaste they want by getting data centers out of their communities. Like, if we can agree 4 out of 5 dentists, we can agree 9 out of 10 fucking no data center, because my teeth will rot out of my head, because I'll have cancer and I'll die. Like, and that's the thing, is this issue isn't partisan. It's going to be made partisan because we live in a country that has decided that it's a two-party system for no fucking reason. But we live in a partisan system. So it's made to sound partisan what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you just talk to somebody about wanting clean water, about not wanting their community poisoned, or being able to have a well where they can easily drink out of their own water, or have electricity for their house so that they can run their AC unit during the summer, or run their heater during the winter, or cook fucking food, or boil water, or something, anything. Like, you can connect with this issue on so many levels, because it's not a partisan issue. It's just a human issue. Like, this is a human issue. Is, do we want to return to a time when especially in America, do we want to return to a time when we're actively lighting our rivers on fire and burning our cities down in smog and killing ourselves all the time? Like, we can return to that. During the Industrial Revolution, that's what we had. We want to know why there's so much cancer nowadays? Well, let's take a look back at our own fucking history here for like 10 minutes and go, oh, look at all those chemicals we put into the air. Maybe that's probably causing some of the cancer and the genetic changes that we've seen, because we fucked our own genome up by poisoning everything. Maybe we shouldn't return to doing that. It's easy to talk about some of those. And you know what? This is the type of issue that unifies people against an entire regime. If people don't care about pedophilia, which I don't understand why people still don't care about that, and the whole Epstein Trump files, and the fact that Pam Bondi under oath in a closed door testimony said that there were at least 6 million files, and the DOJ has only released 3 million of those files, which, by the way, is almost 150 days late at this point, if not longer, because it was a unanimously agreed upon law minus one asshole. Even the president signed it. And Congress doesn't agree on anything. And they're still withholding documents. If that doesn't get people awake, reminding people about the importance of their own drinking water, or their own ability to have electricity, have any of these things, will get to them. Because even the poorest people in this country want to have the minutia amount of freedom, the minute amount of freedom that the internet gives you, or feeling of freedom. Well, just remind them that the more AI comes online, less likely you are to get your internet, because you're not going to have electricity. You won't have clean running water. You won't have food that is edible. The Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, well, that can come back again. Talk about the things that hit people at home, and they'll really start feeling these issues. They'll really feel it. Because as much as I want to say I wish everybody was against the pedophilia and against the monstrous actions there, that doesn't hit home with everybody. Because they don't have kids, they don't care, they see it as another just whatever bullshit garbage, which it's not. It's fucking disgusting and it's horrendous, and we're literally being run by a transnational group of pedophiles and criminals and people who are literally everything we were always told to be scared of. Like, that's what is running our world. But
Yeah.
If that doesn't scare people, the idea of their river or the creek in their backyard lighting on fire randomly will.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that hits home.
Yeah. And guess what?
A lot of conservatives are environmentalists, whether they know it or not, whether they think about it or not. A lot of them are hikers and folks who really enjoy the environment. And you get in the way of them getting out and enjoying their environment, they're going to fucking do whatever they do on that side.
It's manifest destiny, right? Like,
remind them that they're going to start lighting the river on fire here soon.
It will.
That your town is next. It's not minority community towns that they're coming into. It's
Your
poor
town.
white towns.
Your town.
It's poor white rural communities. That farm that was just bought out downtown and you knew the owner and the guy lived there for 3 generations and their family owned that farm. Now it's gone and a data center's coming in. Well, guess what, guys? That impacts you.
And that farm will never grow food again. Just to be clear.
Nope.
That data center
and the ground under that data center is poisoned.
Yes. Yep.
Never, cannot be used again.
And the groundwater depletion that center's going to use is going to be downstream. Those aquifers feed millions of people.
That creek you and your kids go and swim in all summer long because it's hot as hell where you are.
And burn
Guess
your
what?
skin off.
Polluted as fuck, and you're going to get cancer from it.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't make the rules. We're just living with them. We're just telling you what happens when those rules turn into things that intentionally kill people.
Yep.
Poor folks, especially poor white folks, wake the fuck up. And I know you're not listening to us, so we're not you're not.
You tell them to wake the fuck up, because you see them. Like, we don't, but you guys do. You see them.
Well, I do.
Communities. Well,
I mean, I do.
I don't. I'm much more introverted than folks would probably think based on how I am on here. But I do like to go out and talk to people. But I also live in one of the most liberal places.
And let's answer this question. The idea for Darbit here is: do we need data centers? If so, where should they be? Yes, we do need some. Because we are a technological society. We need data centers so that we can power the data systems that we want to have to better our lives, to increase our ability to be better humans. We do need data centers. Where they get located, that I don't know, but I do know that they should not be located on primary waterways, on secondary waterways, in communities. If they're going to be located somewhere, they should be remote, and it should require full ecological surveys being done on those areas so that we know what impacts are going to come out of these data centers, and strict requirements on the pollutants that they can produce so that we know we're not killing ourselves to have technology. Like, technology is supposed to better our lives, not murder us. Like,
Yeah, there's a good
the whole
example.
point of technology is it betters our lives and it makes things easier for us, not murder us, not poison us, not
Yeah, it's advancement.
kill our crops, not kill our farm animals and put people out of jobs and all of these things. And if we're going to do that, then the technology needs to be there to replace what we've lost so that we can better human.
Yeah. I want to
And
address this comment, Nick.
that's the big thing on it, is like, I don't have that answer on where they would go. But I do know that where they're being put now are entirely the wrong spots.
Totally.
And entirely the wrong ways. And so that, maybe that's something we talk about. Maybe that's something long term all of us start talking about, is where should data centers go? We need them. Where do they go? What of this technology do we need and what do we not need? That's what we should be talking about. And you know what? Maybe the best place to put the data centers are in those bunkers that the billionaires have built.
They can live on the data. They can live at their data centers.
Who needs what's wrong with putting a data center inside the middle of a mountain if it doesn't have any water, if it doesn't have any waterways coming off of it, if they can do the pollutant checks? I mean, that's where we store uranium, depleted uranium and things like that, is inside bunkers in mountains in granite and solid rock. So why not put a data center there? That might be the best spot. And the billionaires have already made the bunkers for us, so why not use them? It's our taxpayer dollars anyway.
Yeah, they can build a data center instead of the ballroom. They can have a data center right there.
I mean, it's both. So maybe he'll get the cancer.
Yeah, I mean, but they also own the healthcare, right? So they'll be fine. They can. Hey,
yeah, they'll be fine.
They should hit up Xi Jinping and talk to him about, his never-ending mortal body that he's working on.
I mean, they traffic all the kids and the babies anyways, so they've got all the body parts that they need to harvest because these people are fucking disgusting human beings.
Yeah.
Sorry, rant at the end.
No, it's good. I think we have to rant a little bit. I'll say this. There's a comment here. One, just education is lamp. They're talking about merging the IDF with the armed forces. I did just look this up. Yeah, it does look like at some capacity they are going to try and basically designate them as a single executive agent. So whatever the hell that means, just if you weren't convinced that Israel fucking owns the Trump regime, well, there's your fucking evidence. Israel wants to own our armed forces as well. But this, beyond this, right? I just want to go back to this comment. It was about California, basically a Lake Tahoe, the Nevada energy company that provides energy to the company Liberty Energy, that provides company to over 50,000. I want to say it's like 50 or 40,000 residents at Lake Tahoe, announced that they would be suspending power to that community to provide energy to data centers. Gave them a year of time to figure that out, right? So obviously we already have the attorney general, things like that, filing lawsuits and things like that. Our attorney general in California, Mr. Bonta, is pretty sick. He's been doing a pretty good job with his lawsuits. So anticipate that this is going to cause a legal cascade of basically, and probably set precedents for these data centers to be further regulated because now they're taking energy from communities with no alternative. And
because what's that community going to do? Like, build a community solar farm? Like, what's the community going to fucking do? We already pay taxes for utilities and infrastructure. So again, this is one of those things where we have the power.
Yes, we do.
To shut these people down. We just need to take the power that we have, because we have more than they want us to know. We have more than they think, than they would ever want us to realize. And if we just grasp even a little of it, we can change a lot.
Yeah. And change is coming. So let's either way, change is coming. The world is dynamic, and it's changing around us as our country changes. There's going to be a lot of hardship because of what these people have done, whether that be in our environment with the things going on. The planet is going through a lot of stuff right now. Like, be strong with your communities, be prepared to help each other. The government's not going to be coming, and there's unfortunately going to be some weather, earthquakes, all kinds of stuff on the horizon. So communities are really important. Stopping these data centers and protecting our environments even more so, with all of this unpredictable stuff. So the American spirit, we've talked about this. It can be whatever we want it to be. It doesn't have to be the capitalist class. And if you take anything away, from this, and is that we have power, and it's showing. That power is worth $300 to $500 billion. That power is the anticipated 2026 data centers as empty plots. That's land that's not being destroyed. That's real. That is saved environment. And I will say this: the world has already created, through millions of years of evolution, the solution to all of our climate problems. If we stopped trying to solve everything our own way and looked around and suddenly started to work with the planet, the things that we could do are remarkable, because nothing is more efficient than if they replanted all the mangroves in Florida, all that beach property, it would absorb as much carbon as a single years of all of human emissions, just Florida. So keep in mind, folks, we are not screwed. We just need to change how we view the planet, how we view our communities, how we view our resources. Instead of trying to extract to solve the problems, we should do what people have done for a long time and work with our environment. And that's fighting data centers. That is the core crux of it. They've hedged it all their capital, all their liability. That's their weak point. Go for it and stop. Take model after the people in Chile and Peru and Argentina who are blocking the mines, who are refusing to work, who are stopping these sites, who are protecting their environment because they understand the value here. So that's
Be the change you want to see in the world. It's not easy, but it's the only solution.
Yeah.
We have to be the change we want to see in the world right now.
Yeah.
Because we can do it.
Yes, we can.
We can do it. So, dude, this has been great. I'm glad we finally got back. We will be back again next week. Don't worry, everyone. Shane and I are back. Palantalk is back. We'll be back again
with more good news. We're gonna stay up on this. We should. We'll stay up on this. We'll stay up to date on the data centers and the revolution, and the peaceful resistance against the data centers and the tech bros, because this is what we wanted to see. So yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, and you're right, Darvin. Power to the people, but education is needed. Let's say power to the people and education is needed, because we can make both happen at the same time. Concurrent executions of tasks. We can multitask. We're better than single-threaded single tasking. We are multitaskers. We're humans. We have the ability to do a lot. We're really complex, really creative people. We're really imaginative beings. We have these big brains that do big brain things, as my son would say. Big brain moment.
Heck yeah.
Do a big brain moment. Go out there and just educate. Educate those around you. If somebody's going to offer a shitty opinion, offer yours back.
Yeah.
If it's not a shitty opinion, offer it back. Educate those around us. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back, and we will continue educating, and we'll continue talking specifically on topics like this, because things like data centers are hugely important, and the environmental impact and our life impact and our impact towards freedom and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness right now is tied directly to data center production. And so we can retain life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and prevent the destruction of our world by fighting back against data centers. It'll piss the technocrats off, it'll save the world, and it'll do a lot of good for us. And You'll get to touch grass during the process. So go outside.
I was gonna say, make sure you touch some grass and
Yeah,
say
make sure to go outside and touch some grass in this process because it is going to be a lot. It's going to be long. This is not a simple fix. This is a generational fix. We're going to be here for the long haul, y'all. So let's do this. Let's stay strong together and let's be good because here, this is Palantalk, where we like to talk tech.
No fascism. Thank you, my friends.
Thanks, y'all. We'll see. Oh, shit. We didn't even promote ourselves.
Holy shit. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Okay. We'll do this lightning round of promotion. Come support Banner and Backbone, where we're making this happen. We're having fun here. Shane and I are back for Palantalk. We have the Anti-Fascist Book Club every Friday, Powerful Voices episodes where we do interviews with congressional candidates and others. So keep an eye on everything. Come support Banner and Backbone. Love all the support that you guys give. Thank you for being here with us too. Greatly appreciated. And hopefully we continue to keep seeing the growth and continue to see more episodes coming out because we have a lot to say and a lot going on here. But thank you again, everyone, for supporting Banner and Backbone and everything that we've been doing. Next, go support my friend Shane Yirak. He's a great dude, doing a ton of hard work, doing a lot of really good analysis, putting a lot of really good, solid effort in and building something that people can trust. So go support my friend Shane. Shane, promote yourself, man.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'm trying to bring you guys the best understanding, best analysis I can give you. My track record is pretty fucking good at this point. I'm not gonna lie. You know, so I've got a good track record. I'm not right all the time, but if you do kind of want to know where things are going in advance, I have been pretty consistent there when it comes to the war in Iran. Stability in the Sahel, as we're talking about the markets and everything as well here in the United States. All these things, I am super ADHD to the point where I'm watching it all. And so if you guys want to get these kind of insights, things like that, go ahead and subscribe and come over and support me. I've got a couple really interesting articles out recently, did a lot of writing about the Middle East, China, the restructuring, a very interesting piece about a memorandum put out between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Interesting things coming up here about Ukraine as well. Collapse of Russia. Very, very big things happening in Europe at the moment. So I'm going to be looking into that as well as, again, kind of probably having to poke our head around in the Middle East again. So if you want to be kept up to date on these hot spots around the world, and get analysis that can help you look at the events that you're seeing in the headlines and weave them into a tapestry you understand. That's what I'm here to do. It's what I like to do. And I hope you come and support me.
Thanks, dude. And then come support me. Sick of the shit publications, doing chronic illness discussions, masculinity, better humaning, and doing a lot of work there. That's where I put most of my efforts in. That's where I've been doing the most community building around and where I'm working to get my my tooling put together and the support systems to help myself and other creators. And so please become a subscriber, free or paid, over at Sick of This Shit Publications. The paid subscriptions do really help a lot. But the free helped almost as much in the long run, because really it's about getting the word out, it's about building the message, and it's about building the community strong. So come support us, come support both Shane, myself, Banner, and Backbone, and support each other. In the end, support each other. Don't just support us, but support each other mentally, physically, emotionally, however you can. Support each other, find ways to support each other. And we'll say it again, because here at Palantalk, we like to talk tech.
No fascism. Hey,
thanks,
before
y'all.
We go, support Nick. Go support Nick. I didn't get to say 1 cent, but support Nick. The dude works himself like a freaking dog. He's crazy and he's doing so much for everybody. He's put in a ton of work, not just for himself, not just for his family, but for what he believes is a future that he wants to stand on, and he's going to keep doing that either or. So I would hope that you would go and support him because he's going to be doing it either way. So you might as well go support him. But with that said, burn bright, everybody. Resist.
Thanks, dude.
And we'll see
Let's
you
go
guys
have
all.
a great week, y'all. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye.